You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Rob Anderson and Jason Brown.
Hey, Rob. How are you?
All right, I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. It's Thursday.
It is.
Time to do round 2 of the Arkansas AgCast live on video.
I'm pretty excited about it. You know, we got in a groove last week, I think, after a while. After a little bit of coughing and whatnot. We're okay.
The bad news is I'm not much better. I've
sure.
like hot tea, I have water, I've
You're
got cough
prepared.
drops. Like,
that's all that matters.
So I apologize if you have to hear me awkwardly mute or something, but thanks for sticking with us anyway. I'm doing my best Barry White impression today.
Good stuff.
Man, it's hot.
It is hot. Record heat, I believe. Is it record heat? Because it's been 90s.
I tell you, 8 o'clock last night, the heat index at my house was 92 degrees.
Yeah, that's the rough part. When it stays up there when the sun's going down, that's brutal.
Yeah. The good news is everything's greening up and blooming and looks great. And frankly, the warm weather and the sunshine is good for farmers and making up for the lost progress we've made in planting with all the wet weather.
Yeah.
So,
it's been a busy week, Farm Bureau-wise. Our friendly producer, Brian, has been over at the MSR conference.
Running.
Yes, running. A lot going on. So we've been running around, and we got here just in time.
Yeah.
To get this
If you don't know what an MSR is,
Right.
This is a member service representative. These folks pretty much run the show at your Farm Bureau county offices. A lot of times they're anything from greeting you when you come in the door, reminding you to pay that monthly membership, to managing the social media pages for your county Farm Bureau. I mean, they really run the ship.
If you're a county Farm Bureau member, you've probably talked to the MSR at some point or another. And so it's our little acronym, but that they're very important to what we do. So
exactly, they're the face pretty much at the county. So thankful to have those folks in town this week. They had tons of learning opportunities from. I got to sit in on a personal defense class yesterday that they were going through. Very nice, unless you were the person that the officer was demonstrating on. That was not.
Now, do we want to get up and demonstrate something here today?
You know, I'd honestly rather
damage
not.
the equipment.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt anything. I don't want to get hurt.
I think what he's trying to tell you is if you get out of line, he's taking you down.
Yeah, I did take tips.
If you throw me that way, watch out for Brian.
And then I guess the other big thing happening this week is early voting has kicked off.
Yeah. That is huge. And if you drive by wherever your polling sites are, it's a library in my neighborhood, and there's just signs everywhere that is election season is here, ready or not.
Ready
the
or not
commercials
is
are
right.
out there. If you want to know about who's running for office in your area, you want to prep yourself before you head to the polls. I suggest that you visit arcelect.com. That's arcelect.com. It's Arkansas Farm Bureau's online election directory. You can find out who's running for what position in your area. You can find out about them, what they stand for. You can even find more than 40 videos from statewide and federal office candidates, gubernatorial, Congress, there's videos there. You can hear what they have to say about what they stand for. It's a great tool for helping you make your decision before you head out there to cast your vote.
Yeah, that's part of our Measure the Candidate program.
Right.
We invited all 65 statewide candidates into the office over a 48-hour period, I think, and I recorded video with nearly 50 of them, like you said, more than 40, to just sort of address our membership and others if you're not part of our membership but interested to learn from these candidates. So it's a good opportunity to have just a pretty straightforward listen to what this candidate stands for and what they plan to do if elected, and some really good, just straightforward information from candidates there.
And county farm bureaus across the state have been having their own Measure the Candidate meetings, local candidates coming and meeting with their members at the local level. This is a way you can measure the candidates for yourself without leaving home. Just go to arcelect.com and start looking around for who's running for what in your area.
Yeah. Well, I think if we talk any more about election season,
we may lose everybody.
Yeah, they may just turn us off and say these guys. I didn't realize I was turning into a political show. Anyway, well, let's. That being said, let's kick into the news. How about that?
That sounds great.
This does involve DC, so stick with us. You'll want
still a little bit of politics here.
So last week we shared news of a field hearing in Michigan to discuss the upcoming Farm Bill. Plans to host a similar hearing here in Arkansas later this summer. I say that. I mean, Memorial Day is upon us, so I guess it is almost summer.
It is almost.
So here on the AgCast, Rob and I are going to continue coverage of the Farm Bill each week moving forward. And this week we have news about a trip to D.C. for some farmers and ranchers to discuss just that, the Farm Bill.
It's a hugely important thing when these roll around. So there's a lot of prep work, a lot of discussion that goes into this, and making sure our voices are heard.
Yeah, that's
DC.
right. So this week, several Arkansas Farm Bureau leaders and staff members took part in a fly-in to Washington, D.C. for a meeting with Senator John Bozeman, staff members of the Senate Ag Committee office, to discuss priorities for the 2023 Farm Bill. The group spent time with the senator and staff discussing the list of priorities developed by Farm Bureau members in Arkansas and answering questions about what concerns farmers and ranchers have here in the state, and learning more about the process. Our folks learn a little bit more about the process and the timeline for developing that Farm Bill. Among those who attended was our Director of Public Affairs and Government Relations, Jared Yates. And we spoke to Jared about everything the group has been working on while in the nation's capital. And I think we've got a clip from him, Brian.
This has been a busy week in Washington, D.C. Arkansas Farm Bureau Board officers traveled to D.C. and met with Senator Bozeman and the Ag Committee staff to outline our priorities for the 2023 Farm Bill. The Senate and the House are both already underway and having meetings and hearings to discuss the new Farm Bill. The current Farm Bill is set to expire next December, so there's going to be a lot of work to be done between now and then drafting the new Farm Bill. We're very grateful to Senator Bozeman and his staff for meeting with us and taking the time to hear about our priorities and the issues that are impacting farmers and ranchers in Arkansas and around the country. And we look forward to working with them in the coming months to continue to draft the Farm Bill and work on these important issues.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks to Jared for taking the time to give us that update from D.C. Just this morning. To learn more about the priorities that we were discussing in D.C. this week, you can reach out to Jared. He's our Director of Public Affairs and Government Relations. Jared Yates, if you go on arfb.com, you can find out how to get a hold of him. Call him, send him an email,
so
send him a tweet.
Us, who can help. You can find Jared's name on there. But, yeah, he's been running around this week. There's a lot of people running around this week. It's been a busy week with the MSR conference, the trip to D.C., and that's an important issue that they're going to be making a lot of trips up there. For.
Exactly. All right.
So, speaking of D.C., the USDA is accepting 2 million acres through a Conservation Reserve Program general sign-up. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack recently announced the U.S. Department of Agriculture is accepting more than 2 million acres in offers from agricultural producers and landowners through the Conservation Reserve Program general sign-up. This includes 6,000 acres in Arkansas. This marks the first of multiple sign-ups occurring in 2022, with about 3.4 million acres expiring this year. Vilsack said he encourages producers and landowners to consider the grassland and continuous sign-ups, both of which are currently open. Our conservation programs are voluntary, and at the end of the day, producers are making market-based decisions as the program was designed to allow and encourages, said Doris Washington. She's the FSA State Executive Director here in Arkansas. Producers and landowners can apply for the continuous and grassland sign-ups by contacting their local USDA service center. And if you're interested, you can learn more about this at fsa.usda.gov/CRP.
Yeah, CRP program, pretty popular here in the state. So glad to see that we've had some movement on that in as far as acre enrollment goes.
And you've got some more USDA news.
That's right. The USDA is offering up some help to Arkansas farmers dealing with the impact of drought conditions. As we mentioned last week, some areas of the state are experiencing drought. Other areas experience way too much rain.
We've got it all here.
That's right. So according to a news release, the department says that due to drought during the growing season in a large part of Texas, all of Louisiana, and 20 counties in Arkansas and parts of Mississippi, farmers are eligible to apply for federal aid. The USDA's Farm Service Agency is offering up low-interest emergency loans to cover recovery needs, including replacement of equipment or livestock, and reorganization of farming operations, or refinancing certain debts. The application deadline will vary based on when a county was declared an ag disaster area. So, for additional details, including the list of covered counties in Arkansas, because you don't want to hear me name off 20 counties, visit fsa.usda.gov. That is fsa.usda.gov. All right, Rob.
All right. Well, taking a different sort of turn, this is kind of a cool little story. University of Arkansas at Monticello has invested in a very nice high-tech drone. University of Arkansas Monticello has recently purchased a very high-end new drone to measure forest health, tree heights, and trunk widths. The $60,000 drone is being used as a tool to measure the tree canopies of the university's 1,000-plus acres of forest land. The drone uses LiDAR technology, some laser light impulses at a distance, and it converts the data to maps and graphics. Dr. Hamdi Zarkani, assistant professor of geospatial sciences, he's part of the UAM College of Forestry, Agriculture, and Natural Resources. He's leading this drone effort, and he says this drone can be used to monitor forest health and detect early signs of stress. And with the LiDAR system, they can obtain fine resolution 3D data and forest structure. So,
wow.
Forestry is huge here in Arkansas. Yeah. This seems like a very cool tool. The UAM College of Forestry, Agriculture, and Natural Resources, they have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it's easy to search on YouTube if you just look for the college name. And you can find a video about this project and the new drone. It's cool. So I checked it out earlier, and it's a very interesting project.
Any chance they'll let us fly this thing?
I doubt it for $60,000, but, maybe we can take our drone out there to just hang out.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you for bringing our first forestry story of the Arkansas AgCast reboot. This is really
more to come.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so let's take a little break here to learn a little bit about Arkansas Farm Bureau membership and how that goes and works, how that goes to work in your community.
All right.
Your Arkansas Farm Bureau membership supports our work on behalf of Arkansas farmers, ranchers, and rural communities around the state. From youth leadership programs and academic scholarships to hunger relief and disaster support, and much more. You can make a difference and be a champion for your community. Join today at arfb.com.
All right. I had the opportunity to sit with several of those MSRs yesterday at lunch and ask for some examples of how we're putting the memberships to work. And one of the stories that I heard was in St. Francis County, which is my home county, that county gives $10,000 each year to the county fair to support activities. So bring in youth and students to get involved in fair activities, whether that be showing livestock or whatever that may be. So that's just another example of the power of that membership and
that's one of the big
how
things.
That $40 a month or $40 a year can make an impact.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that membership in Farm Bureau and we're being a champion for your community. It's about being a champion for youth in those areas, because youth leadership programs, FFA, YFNR, all these youth-oriented and younger people we're supporting to bring that, continue the tradition of agriculture.
Yeah.
It's really important work.
We'll talk about different ways that your membership goes to work each week. But last week we talked about $10,000 a year in scholarships in Clark County alone.
Right.
This week, $10,000 into the county fair in St. Francis County to support youth activities. You can see that's a strong element to our mission and the work that we do.
And we've seen what those, you go out to the fair every year and you see what that means to those kids getting out there and showing showing animals and doing that sort of thing. That's great stuff.
Yeah, that's right. All right, back to the news. Let us catch you up on this week's planting progress across the state. We gave a report on this last week, and we were still quite behind despite some good weather. So, I think while we continue that trend of being behind both last year's planting progress and the 5-year average, the dry and warm weather, like we were talking about earlier, has allowed farmers to play quite a bit of catch-up. Let's look at the numbers. It won't be a test on last week's numbers. We're just focused on this week's numbers. All right. So we are up to 80% of corn planted this week, falling 9% behind the progress on the same week last year and 6% behind the 5-year average. But remember, corn is probably the most impacted by the planting delay. So the progress made this week is a good sign for farmers. And in addition to that 82% of corn planted, 59% of the corn crop is emerged as of this week. So seeing lots of pictures on social of corn coming up out of the soil. That's good. Rice planting is well behind last year in the 5-year average at 57%, rather, with only 38% of the crop emerged. So look for rice planting to be a big focus for farmers in the next couple of weeks. This time last year, we were actually 75% planted, which is close to the 5-year average. We have planted 38% of soybeans in the state, with 20% emerged. We were nearly halfway planted this time last year, but are on pace with the 5-year average and still a tad behind on emergence.
Okay.
Cotton is sitting at 32% planted, which is ahead of last year's progress by almost double, and also ahead of the 5-year average. It's a good year for cotton planting.
Okay, good deal.
And wrapping up with peanuts, a crop we did not report on last week. We're at 29% planted with 9% emerged. We're ahead of last year's progress at this time and remain on track with the 5-year average. Now, let it be known, if you're trying to reach a farmer right now, they're probably going to have to call you back. Everyone is staying really busy trying to get the crop planted.
Right. Well, there's a little bit of good news in there and getting caught up, and that was good to hear.
Yeah.
Some other good news. The 75th Annual Arkansas Farm Family of the Year program has named the 2022 County Farm Families of the Year. Whenever we make that announcement, it just explodes on social media.
Exactly.
This is always big news. The families who were selected will be visited by a set of judges to determine the 8 district farm families of the year, and those will be announced on June 14th, so that's coming right up. State Farm Family of the Year will be announced in December at the Farm Family of the Year luncheon. The Arkansas Farm Family of the Year program since 1947 has served as a vehicle to recognize outstanding farm families throughout the state. Selecting the Arkansas Farm Family of the Year takes into consideration a number of factors: efficiency of production, conservation of energy and resources, leadership in agricultural and community affairs, home and farm improvement, and home and farm management. To see the full list of the county farm families of 2022, and I don't think you want me reading all of those to you here today, I'd visit arfb.com/news and look for the official announcement news release, and that's arfb.com/news.
Yeah, big news. Representation from all 75 counties, and look forward to that, hearing who those district winners are. All right. We've got some exciting news to share from the home front here, following the news that we reported last week about Warren Carter's retirement.
Have I mentioned it's been busy around here for the past week and a half?
My goodness.
Just, yes.
Yeah. Every time you say that, I think it's something else that we've been tied up with.
But
Pardon me.
Drum roll, please, as you have this announcement.
Yeah, here we go. Jeff Pitford has been named Arkansas Farm Bureau's Executive Vice President. The Arkansas Farm Bureau Board of Directors voted last Thursday to elevate Jeff to the top position, replacing Warren Carter, who is retiring on May 31st, as we reported last week.
Talked about that last week.
The EVP serves as the Chief Executive Officer of the Farm Bureau, manages the staff functions for the organization, and reports to the Board of Directors. If you don't know Jeff, he's got a really incredible background here. Jeff has spent the past 8 years as Director of State Affairs in the Public Affairs and Government Relations Department, where he was part of lobbying efforts with the state's General Assembly. Before coming to work at ARFB, he worked for more than 14 years at the University of Central Arkansas, ending his tenure as vice president for university relations. And he also worked in the Huckabee administration as director of rural services. We're really excited to have Jeff in the EVP position.
And Jeff is jumping right in. He was on that trip to D.C. this week to talk about the Farm Bill. So, yeah.
He addressed the MSR conference right after that. I mean, he has been really, really busy.
Hasn't had a chance to catch his breath yet.
Avid baseball fan. Here's a tidbit about Jeff, if you didn't. The only Farm Bureau employee that I know who has his own baseball card. Yeah. Have you ever seen this?
I have not seen his card.
I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
But I know he's visited a lot of the ballparks in the country, and he's made some road trips, Hall of Fame. I know that he loves baseball.
Huge baseball guy.
All right. Well, something else I wanted to, today I want to make sure our audience knows about. It's a very interesting webinar series for anyone involved in agriculture across the state. It's offered by the National Agricultural Law Center at the University of Arkansas, which is one of the country's top sources for agricultural and food law research. They have a new webinar coming up on Monday. It's about facing drought in prior appropriation systems, but they have others coming up in June and July on hunting leases and liability, long-term care impacts on farming operations. These are very relevant topics, and they have great experts lined up. You can find out more about these webinars and sign up to take part by visiting the Ag Law Center's website at nationalaglawcenter.org/webinars, nationalaglawcenter.org/webinars. And again, the topics are very, very relevant and important. If you're in agriculture, if you're running a farming operation, they have a lot of great material there.
Yeah. Good to know. Great to have that resource, the National Ag Law Center here in the home base here in the state.
That's why I wanted to make sure that we got that mention in this week. We got an announcement about the new webinar, and that is such a great resource to have here. And so wanted to make sure people knew about that. I think that wraps up our news for this week.
Yeah, Brian, do you have a this day in history for us?
No. Not at this day in history.
Okay.
This was a little bit too much of a downer.
Okay.
Some trivia of some kind.
Well, it is Homer Simpson's birthday.
Oh, wow. How old is Homer?
He's 66. According to the Webernet.
Do we have a soundtrack sound effect of any kind?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah.
But,
Any other celebrity birthdays?
Katharine Hepburn.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
Homer Simpson, Katharine Hepburn. Who do you?
I'd go
famous.
I'd go Hepburn.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well.
If we want to check it out, remember you can catch the live stream.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for sticking around for the second edition of the Arkansas AgCast.
As we work our way through coughing and stumbling, you're sticking with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We hope we're getting some good news out of it. Catch the live stream every Thursday, 2 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and listen to the audio version later on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau and hosted by me, Jason Brown, and Rob Anderson. Our show is produced by Brian Pistol, Matthew Magdafrau, and Jenny Higgs. And that wraps us up.
We'll be back next week with more ag news that matters to you, the farmer. Until then, we're out of here.